18th, please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
John Baisley, first ward.
Bill Carlos, second ward.
Michael Safone, fourth ward.
Ron Krakauer, fifth ward.
Ann Shershen, Sixth Ward.
Todd Tancredi, Supervisor.
Alicia Salvatore, Town Clerk.
And Jim Nelson will be with us shortly. I'm going to go through the agenda items, and we'll take questions at the beginning of the meeting on agenda items. Agenda item number 1 is a bid award for the Spy Hill generator. 2 is to approve, Germania is asking us to waive some fees that each year they typically ask us for their fest, Oktoberfest, and something they have in May as well. 3 is to authorize a dollar rate agreement for the new year. 4 is to authorize walkway over the Hudson letter agreement for the event we heard about last week at the Committee of the Whole. 5 is to authorize a supervisor to sign Stop DWI drug recognition agreement. 6 is to authorize an extension of a project in the 4th Ward, the Dahlia project. And then we have 1 special consent, and that is to accept the retirement of a highway employee, John Simmons. So I'd like to suspend the rules for public comment on agenda items. Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Rob?
Thank you. Rob Rubin, also from One Drum Court in the town of Poughkeepsie. There are 2 items that I would hope that you folks could address, please, during discussion on 2 agenda items. One of them is the O2, the waiving fees for Germania, and I would like if you could possibly provide what standard or justification that Germania rises to, that they can ask for the waiver of these fees. Not whether it's done historically, but what bar do they have to meet to get that waived? And then just a little discussion as you go down further, the walkway over the Hudson, the letter of agreement. I'm just kind of curious as to why we're involved in that, since the walkway is in the city of Poughkeepsie, not the town.
Okay, we'll discuss that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Seeing no one, I make a motion to resume the rules.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, okay.
Be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby award the bid for the Spy Hill generator to low bidder Kinsley Power Supplies Systems at the bid price of $19,095 pursuant to recommendation of town engineer. And be it further resolved, the supervisor is authorized to execute a contract agreement with Kinsley Power Systems. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Todd, do you know, are these the same generators we've been putting in? Because we're trying to standardize them all.
Yeah, I believe they are.
the same?
Yes.
Because I think
Yeah.
the last one was Kinsley too. huh?
Yes, yep. Anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby waive all permit fees relating to Germania of Poughkeepsie Manifest on May 16th and 17th and their Oktoberfest on September 11th, 12th, and 13th, pursuant to a request from Germania dated February 2015, a copy of which is attached. Do I need to read this?
No.
Okay.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Rubin had asked why we consider waiving the fees. I mean, we typically have in the past for not-for-profit organizations that are, something we see as supporting something that town residents, take part of. Fees are generally exclusively their purview of the town board, whether to impose them or to waive them. And, on occasion, we've been asked by Germania and probably a few other organizations like this to whether we consider waiving it. And they're mostly assembly fees, and I think things like that for these regular events that they have once or twice a year.
Yeah,
It brings a lot of people into the area as well from outside that could shop in our local stores, Adams, we've got local gas stations over there too, and people get to see the different restaurants we have along the 44-55 corridor, so kind of, I don't have a problem with it. Thank
Tax
you.
exempt was enough for me.
They're tax exempt.
All right, you asked. Out there.
yeah, I don't think the fees are that.
No, I
It's
think-
definitely
And I
fees
don't know.
like $100
For a public assembly, it depends on how many people.
people.
A little more than
Few
that.
$100 probably.
Yeah.
I don't know what other fees, it's all building usually that they. Fees through my office for this.
All right, so we have a motion, and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Here's all Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby authorized supervisor to execute 2005 dial-a-ride amendment agreement with the County of Dutchess, which agreement provides for joint service transportation system for senior citizens, handicapped individuals with payments made by the town not to exceed $68,540. So moved.
Motion, and a second. Any discussion?
You Todd, how
Number change from last year?
That, I don't believe so. And if it is insignificant. But it didn't rise to the level of, catching our
I think it
attention.
was like 65 last year, if I'm not mistaken, it went up a couple thousand.
Yeah, it might have. I don't know. I mean, I do know, we've looked, about every other year to try to determine how many seniors are actually taking advantage of this service. And I was actually surprised last time we had the discussion, how many rides we do have in the town of Poughkeepsie. So it is a service that's really used quite a bit by the seniors. Dial-a-Ride basically tries to split the town up into two sections, north and south, and I think the dividing line's primarily Spag Hill Road, and it's well used.
They've also bettered the service over the years, because they added an extra bus for us that one year, and it's still on there to take them down to Fishkill once a month, give them some of the other supermarkets and take them around. We haven't had as many complaints as for a while. We had a lot of complaints about them sitting long.
Yeah.
I think they've addressed that, and that's been resolved too.
How do we communicate this to all our seniors? That this-
Well, it's something we've had for a number of years. First of all, through the senior center, it's well publicized, but the seniors also through the county senior program. What's it?
Office of the Aging.
Office of the Aging. It's pretty well.
So it's pretty well publicized?
Yeah.
I didn't get a second on that, though. You just said.
Second.
Thank you.
All right. The North Route, they service the town on Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays. South is Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And that's pretty much it. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0.
Whereas Walkway Over the Hudson has requested the assistance of the town of Poughkeepsie for its 2015 Walkway Over the Hudson Marathon, Half Marathon, and 5K events, and whereas the request for assistance is part of the ongoing administration of the town with no new programs or major reordering of priorities that may affect the environment such that no secret review is required, now therefore be it resolved. The town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the supervisor to execute the annexed letter agreement with Walkway Over the Hudson. So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Rob, the reason we're signing on is because they're using a couple town roads. They're going to come up, they're going to start and end the event at Marist. They're going to come up Fulton over Fairview and catch the rail trail. We had a little presentation last week at the Committee of the Whole. And I think Councilman Safona volunteered you for the half K, or the half,
Yeah, it's a marathon that they're running on the rail trail in the walkway.
we all volunteered to hand out the water during the event, so. But I think it'll be nice for the town, and for the entire area. It'll bring, hopefully, people to the area that aren't otherwise here, for the marathon and the half marathon. Hopefully give our restaurants and hotels some business, and maybe encourage, some of us to run and get into shape instead of
With getting shape.
like me sitting behind a desk. So that's kind of the idea behind it.
5K.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the supervisor to sign the 2015 Stop DWI Program Drug Recognition Expert Amendment and Extension Agreement with the County of Dutchess, a copy of which is attached. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. All right, number 6, be it resolved that the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the extension of the Town of Poughkeepsie Planning Board's recommendation on a senior housing overlay district designation for the Dahlia Site Plan project to May 22nd, 2015. So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes. The fees that are involved in this, do they have to refile the fees if we extend it, or do we extend the fees?
I don't know if there's a fee to extend it. There may be. I don't know off the top of my head.
No,
I
I'm
think what
saying-
you're thinking of is what Doreen had brought up one time about, this isn't a resubmittal, it's an actual
Just an
extension
Extension, okay.
of that process.
There are no fees that are involved with this, and no additional fees. This is, I understand that it is an extension of the time. You're giving the planning board some extra time to make their recommendation on this.
Okay.
It's not even an extension of the application itself.
All right, thank you.
It's an internal memo.
Anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie hereby grants special consent to the following items to wit. 1, accept the retirement of John E. Simmons, and be it further resolved that upon the objection of any member of the Town Board, an item may be removed from the list and voted on separately. So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept with regret the retirement of John E. Simmons from the Town of Poughkeepsie Highway Department effective February 28th, 2015. So moved.
Motion is second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'd just like to say I've had the pleasure to work with Jake over the years. And he, like everybody else over at the highway department, he's done a fantastic job. He's always been very available, easy to work with. I've always seen him and Mark out there side by side with the guys working, and Jake got hurt working out there on the job with his guys. So they've always led by example over there. I'm sad to see Jake go. I wish him luck in all of his future, things that he's going to do. And and again, we have a good highway department over there, so I think we'll be good going forward. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think we all say the same thing. He's going to be missed, but we wish him well. And it was nice. I mean, I've been over there numerous times when we were collecting for the troops. He was very supportive, helped me out quite a bit. Anytime I needed a mailbox, he got it for me. So
Yeah, we're going to miss Jake. The residents would know him by the guy who always was at the transfer station up front. So we're going to need someone new to check their licenses. But we wish him well in his retirement. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. And that brings us to the end of our agenda. I'd like to make a motion to accept comments on town issues.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone like to address the board? Doreen?
So 2 meetings back, when the DeGarmo Road Bridge project was discussed, the Deputy Commissioner from the county, Commissioner of Public Works, was here. And I asked about the town's wetland ordinance, and he said that he didn't know about the town's ordinance and if they had to follow it, but he would check.
Yeah.
Has anybody heard
Yes.
anything about that?
I believe we do have a wetland ordinance. From the discussions I've had, the general feeling is that the county most likely is going to be able, as a government, one step above us, able to avoid that, for lack of a better term. But we've made them take note of, our ordinance and the section, and ask the county planning and county attorney to look at it and either get a permit or tell us why they shouldn't have to, and we have yet to hear back from them.
Yeah, it doesn't seem fair that the county can take away sales tax and not listen to, and and yet not adhere to town ordinances, so. And again, he did say it's an area which we all know prone to flooding. They're removing
Yeah.
half acre of trees. The town has an ordinance that says there's a buffer 50 feet for the Wappinger Creek, and the fact that nobody bothered to look into that, to me, is a little troubling. And he also sort of just, when he was talking about the trees, he also talked about, the avoidance of tree cutting, as I sent an email. Yeah, so maybe that won't disturb the, the bats at that particular time, but, you're taking down half acre of trees, and I believe it is going to infect the flooding situation and potentially the bat habitat. So, and again, bats eat a lot of insects, and West Nile's been on the rise, so that shouldn't be taken lightly either. Thank you.
Thanks, Doreen.
I think whether they're legally required to follow our laws or not, I think they should at least make every attempt to do so and be considerate of what our local ordinances are. I kind of got the impression from them that was what they were going to do. I didn't get the impression that they were disregarding us. So my feeling from that interaction, I think from what came after, was that their intention is to try to look at it and comply to the best extent that they can.
Yeah, it
But
just
I
would have
think what
been
we-
nice if they, because he said he wasn't aware of it, so that makes you wonder, how much research was done, when they're doing a project like this, are there local ordinances that they should be adhering to, and does the county trump them, if you want to use that word or whatever, so.
And I, like I said, there's times where I've seen other levels of government say we don't have to follow your rules, so we could care less. I don't think that was the case with this one. I thought they were, that they were, at least took that under consideration, or will take that under consideration. So, in the past, we haven't always had that happen, but in this situation, they're doing something for the public good. It's not a developer coming in, and I do think that they'll try their best. They seem to have a plan in place, at least, to try to address the issue with the bats and the habit that the.
Right, well, the DEC does require, because they're an endangered species, that you can't cut trees during the summer months, because that's their roosting period. So, I don't think the county or anybody, because they're
Like I said,
federally
my impression was
endangered.
them that they were being considerate of us as a local municipality. That they
Well,
weren't
he did say he
rolling
would look
through us.
into it, and I just
Right.
wondered if they had followed up, but it also.
Jim, you haven't heard anything, have you?
I placed the inquiry, and I've not yet heard back.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Doreen. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Mr. Commissioner. Sir.
Maybe you can explain a couple things. This dial-a-ride, what are the stipulations involved in? Is there certain places that people have to pick them up, or
Yeah,
is it something that
basically
would
is-
pick them up at their homes if they
Yes.
need be? And
Yeah.
do they have to be people that are restricted to use it, or any
Seniors,
senior?
seniors, you have to call in advance, and set up a ride. And I forget, Dial-A-Ride wants a certain amount of advance notice. I mean,
And doctor's offices are top priority.
There's no real restrictions as to what seniors can
It
use
says
it.
there's a registration
Or how they
process
can
in
use it.
here.
yeah, you can.
It's actually a really good service, and a lot of my clients are seniors, and it helps them to get out of the house, because a lot of times they rely on without the Dial-A-Ride, they'd rely on family or friends to get them rides places. So it helps
Part of
seniors
it's,
more active.
part of it's doctor's visits, the grocery store,
They come up to our
things
seniors.
like that. Senior center, yeah. Yeah.
They'll also take you to the Galleria, which is a hub for the buses. So if you take the Dial-A-Ride to the Galleria, then you can take a bus anywhere in the county and come back. They take you grocery shopping, then they tell you when they're gonna pick you up. The only thing that trumps anything is if they have a lot of doctor's visits that day, the doctor's visits prioritize over the shopping trips, and you book ahead of time. They pick you up door to door.
Do they make pickups at the senior center?
Yes.
That's one of the locations where
Yep,
you
yep.
could get it, so.
Yeah, they pick you up door to door. They'll take you from your house right to your location and back.
The other question I had, I asked it a couple of meetings ago when I was here about the increase in the sewer costs to the residents of Country Club Estates. And I guess the resulting answer was that because of the project that's being done of redirecting the wastewater from our plant that has outused this usefulness for one reason or another, that we are starting to be charged that already before the project is even started or.
Did you talk to Mr.
Complete, yes.
Wadowitz?
Yes.
Well, then, if that's the,
Somebody had to make that decision to start charging us before anything's even
well, I
started.
think we have an opportunity to start charging when we do the, what's that called every year? We do the special districts fees. We're already in the, we've designed it. I mean, they haven't broken ground, but they have done work in terms of design, acquiring easements, site work.
There has been money spent.
There is money, yeah, it's not necessarily construction, but there have been.
I know mine went up well over $100. I can imagine some are probably more, some are probably less.
Joe, is that per month or for the year?
No, it's the year hit that you get. The other monthly is your usage.
Yeah.
Plus the special district thing that you pay for the rest of your life, at least probably the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But I'm a little bit surprised that we've already been starting to be charged for it.
Well, there's been, well, but I
It's
just.
not a new project per se.
But there are fees that the town has incurred as a result of this project, so somehow they've got to be paid, and, as we discussed in previous meetings a while back, it's the users of that, plant that are gonna pay that fee, so, although there's not actually been construction done, there's been a number of engineering and surveying and easements acquired, there's been quite a bit of work going into the project, at this point. Anybody else? Rob? Mark, you're next. Bless you.
Thank you. Actually, I'm glad that Mark is here, because one of the things I wanted to just publicly make a commendation about is the work that his highway department has done in these recent 200 or 300 storms, I think it's been in the last month, snowstorms, that his crew has done, from my observations, one heck of a job in getting the roads cleared, salted, sanded. And I can tell you that being on the trustees on the Wappinger School Board, if the other towns in our school district did as good a job as his, maybe we wouldn't have had delays or cancellations in our school district. So, Mark, you've set a high bar for everybody else to reach.
I've actually said to other people, you can tell when you come into the town of Poughkeepsie because the quality of the roads are significantly better in good weather and in bad. And these snowstorms, it's clear indication. You cross over the town line, you're in the town of Poughkeepsie, the roads are better, the roads are safer. And our guys are out there 24 hours constantly. I give them credit because, we go to sleep at night, they don't. They're out there constantly making those roads safe for the rest of us. And that's something that most people don't even notice. You look at the road and you say they're great, but these guys have been burning the midnight oil and get it done.
Midnight oil and then the next day oil.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
And just on that point, with all the storms we've had, as Rob mentioned, salt's becoming an issue. So Mark's been burning the phone lines, trying to make sure we have the amount of salt we need, but it's becoming a bit of an issue, trying to get the salt necessary to salt the roads.
I have to commend him on something. A few years ago, he came by, he had brine in the trucks, and I didn't realize that when he came by, it just smelled like a deli and pickle, though, a deli and pickles. So I was hungry the whole day, so I'm glad you didn't do that. Speaking about snow, though, I wanted to also ask if the town would, some of you may know that my wife is handicapped, and she has a handicap parking permit. She uses the handicap parking permits in the various malls or shopping centers that she goes to. And recently, with especially with all these storms, I've noticed that when the lots are cleared, when the parking lots are cleared, where do they pile the snow? They pile it in the handicap parking spots, which seems to be counterintuitive to what those spots really are. So I wondered if perhaps Supervisor, if you could ask for a review to see what the town might be able to do so that snow is not put in the handicap spots.
Yeah, we'll look into that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The last thing that I would like to do is just make a general invitation. One of the town's high school students, he goes to Royce Ketchum High School. Back in, Supervisor Tancredi was there also at the Martin Luther King breakfast in Poughkeepsie. One of the town high school students, Joshua Jordan, he goes to Royce Ketchum, received a Martin Luther King Award that day. And it was a fabulous event. The Wappinger School Board is going to publicly recognize him. this coming Monday, February 23rd. So if anybody would like, anybody out there in TV land or any of you folks like to come and to see this, he's one of our town students. Great kid, Joshua Jordan, and we were going to publicly give him accolades 2 weeks ago at our last town board meeting, but we were canceled due to this. No, excuse me, he was sick that day. So hopefully he'll be well enough to be there. He's a great kid, and I'm sure that he would like to see any of you folks there as well. That we're at the Wappingers Junior High School. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
What time is it, Rob?
The public portion of the meeting starts at 7:30, so I would assume that it would be very shortly thereafter. I haven't seen the agenda yet.
Rob, you and I have been sharing emails, and I took a proclamation to that Martin Luther King breakfast. Do you know if he got it?
I have no idea. I asked the parents to let me know, but I have not heard from them.
I gave it to them, and then, they didn't specifically announce it, but hopefully he got that. If he didn't, let me know. If you find out, I'll just print out another one.
If I may offer a suggestion.
Sure.
Our superintendent is Jose Carrion,
Okay.
and since he sets up the agenda, would you, if you'd like me to do it, that's fine, but it might be better coming from you if you talk with him, Jose Carrion, and see if there's what the two of you might want to do together in that respect.
That'd be great. Okay, yeah.
If you need
good
his
idea.
phone number or contact information, I'll give it to you after this.
All right, great, thanks. Mark, you got anything to say? You might as well come on up.
Talking about the salt.
Yeah.
I'll just broaden out a little bit so everybody knows. There is a shortage in the whole area. It's not just town of Poughkeepsie, it's for the entire county. It's a state bid that we get from. This year's state bid is held by Morton Salt. And the Albany port is out. So there's everybody, you name it, every town, everything. I was on the phone with the head of the county today, which is Gary Cooper, and even they're short. And they have, plenty of storage, so it's not a case of that they're just, it can't get here. So we're hoping that they start pulling out of Newark, New Jersey. It'll come slower because the further running, they can't carry as much weight on the truck coming that far. If we're probably good for, I don't know what's coming tonight. I'm hoping it misses us because there's something for Saturday. If it goes much past that, we're going to be dangerously close to running out. So,
Saturday?
Yeah.
Sunday, there's.
So.
I gotta get out of here.
It's a Saturday night and Sunday,
Saturday night
a little
into
icy.
Sunday, yeah.
They don't say in much accumulations, but, so we're trying to figure out everything we can to keep everybody safe, but you may notice that we start doing hills and intersections and leaving the main, flat areas. We'll do dangerous parts, but it's pretty tricky. It's been a bad winter, as everybody knows, and thank you for your compliments. Our guys have been working really hard. It's not easy to do.
No, it's not.
So hopefully it'll
We're
warm
not
up.
just saying it because you're here, Mark.
Thank you.
For sure.
No, they work really hard. And
Mark, the liquid we put out before the storm, that's been working pretty good for us. Has it been holding up for us as well?
Yeah, the liquid we have, and even, if we get right down to it, we have calcium on our trucks that we spray, like Rob said, he smelled the nice pickles. And we can spray sand with the liquid. We can do that as well, so we'll always try to have something to put out there, but sand doesn't melt. It just gives you a little traction. The calcium does melt, but it depends on the temperature, and temperatures aren't in our favor, so just so everybody's aware, and, hopefully if people are listening, that
Drive slow.
they'll understand, yeah, because we're double our usage of normal, it's just been a rough January and February, so.
Well, it's a good thing. This isn't Boston.
True.
Yeah, true.
Yes, that would be.
One consolation.
So, but
All
yeah,
right.
thanks for all your consideration. You guys are great to work with, so.
Thank you, Mark.
Hopefully we'll get some warm weather.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I will.
All right. I just wanted to make one announcement. The town this year, and we had mentioned this in a meeting some time back, we had applied to the county through the Community Development Block Grant Program. We teamed up with the Village of Wappingers and the Town of Wappingers for a grant, and we were awarded a $242,700 grant, $242,700, and this is for that paddle boat center we discussed down at the lower end of Wappingers Creek. So that was good news. We're excited about it. We're going to work with the village and the town, and Tom Meyring's already begun doing some work in the planning phases, so I think this will be a great recreational opportunity for our residents, and it's good to work with other municipalities as a shared, cooperative effort. So just wanted to make that, everybody aware of that. That brings us to the end of everything I have. Okay?
Be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby adjourned to executive session to consider the following matters to wit. 1, confidential communications between attorney and his client, the Town Board based on attorney-client privilege. 2, discussion regarding 2 claims. And be it further resolved, there be no action appropriate money, so moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Town Board adjourns to executive session at 7:30 PM.